Parentification occurs when a child is forced to take on adult responsibilities far too early, effectively ending their childhood prematurely. This isn't always marked by one dramatic event. More often, it's a gradual, quiet process that builds over years. Between the ages of roughly 7 and 17, many children experience a significant gap in their development. They skip the carefree, exploratory phases most people associate with being young. Common scenarios include a 9-year-old preparing meals and caring for younger siblings while a single parent works multiple jobs, or a child becoming the emotional mediator during frequent parental arguments. Some act as translators for non-native speaking parents, handling bills, appointments, or conflicts. Others learn to read subtle cues in body language and tone to anticipate tension or anger before it escalates. These tasks aren't chosen, they become necessities for household survival. Psychologists distinguish two main types: instrumental parentification, involving practical duties like cooking, cleaning, childcare, and financial management, and emotional parentification, where the child provides comfort, advice, or stability to parents who are overwhelmed, depressed, absent, or immature. In both cases, the child's role reverses. The parent leans on the child instead of the other way around. This reversal creates a fundamental shift. The child internalizes that the family's stability depends on their performance. Needs like play, rest, or emotional expression get pushed aside because expressing vulnerability could destabilize everything. The nervous system adapts to chronic alertness, scanning for problems, predicting outcomes, and suppressing personal desires to maintain peace. What appears as early maturity is actually a survival strategy. The child becomes hyper-responsible not out of natural development, but because the alternative, chaos or abandonment, feels threatening. This adaptation is efficient in crisis, but comes at the cost of authentic childhood experiences: spontaneity, silliness, dependence on adults, and the freedom to make mistakes without catastrophic consequences. Over time, these patterns embed deeply. The child learns that love and safety are conditional on usefulness. Rest becomes risky because pausing might allow things to fall apart. Asking for help feels dangerous as it admits weakness in a system that already feels fragile. By adolescence, many have internalized an operating system built around control, anticipation, and self-reliance, traits that serve them in tough environments but limit joy and connection later in life. This early burden shapes identity, relationships, and self-worth for decades. Children who experience parentification develop remarkable abilities that look like exceptional maturity from the outside. These are not true developmental milestones, but adaptive responses forged in necessity. The nervous system, wired for survival, shifts into a permanent state of vigilance, creating what many later call superpowers. One key skill is emotional radar, the ability to read moods instantly. Walking into a room, they sense tension before anyone speaks, picking up on furrowed brows, sighs, or shifted postures. This hyper-attunement helped avoid conflict or soothe upset parents early on. Another is anticipatory caregiving, guessing needs and meeting them proactively. If a parent seemed tired, the child prepared tea or quieted siblings without being asked. Problem-solving became instinctive. When resources were scarce or crises frequent, quick thinking prevented worse outcomes. These adaptations are efficient. The child learns to manage chaos, diffuse arguments, and maintain household equilibrium. They become the reliable anchor others depend on. In school or social settings, they appear composed, helpful, and wise beyond their years. Teachers praise their responsibility. Peers seek their advice. Society often rewards these traits, mistaking survival mode for genuine strength. However, these skills exact a toll. Constant vigilance drains energy reserves. The brain stays in fight or flight, releasing stress hormones even in safe situations. playfulness and curiosity get suppressed because fun feels frivolous when survival is at stake. Emotional expression is limited. Showing sadness or anger might burden already overwhelmed adults, so feelings get internalized or rationalized away. In essence, the child builds an internal rulebook: stay useful to stay safe, anticipate to prevent disaster, control variables to avoid unpredictability. This creates a false sense of maturity. True maturity involves balanced interdependence, vulnerability, and self-care, qualities parentified children often miss. Instead, they master independence and self-sacrifice. These patterns persist because they once worked. The nervous system doesn't easily unlearn what kept the family afloat. As adults, they excel in high-pressure environments, careers in helping professions, management, or crisis response, but struggle with downtime. The superpowers that saved them in childhood now quietly sabotage rest, joy, and authentic connection. Recognizing them as adaptations, not inherent traits, is the first step toward reclaiming what was lost. The effects of growing up too fast manifest powerfully in adulthood, often in subtle, pervasive ways that feel normal until examined closely. The most striking irony is that those who handled major crises as children struggle most with life's gentler demands. Basic self-care becomes difficult. Asking for help triggers guilt or fear of burdening others because historically their needs came last. Rest feels unsafe. Pausing once meant things unraveled, so downtime brings anxiety rather than relief. Playfulness, silliness, or spontaneity can feel foreign or even threatening, as lightheartedness was rarely modeled or allowed. In relationships, patterns repeat familiar dynamics. Being needed registers as love, the only consistent affection experienced early on. Many gravitate toward partners who require fixing or emotional unavailability because those mirror childhood, giving endlessly while receiving little. Consistent, reciprocal care feels uncomfortable, almost wrong, like waiting for inevitable disappointment. Vulnerability is hard. Opening up risks rejection or chaos, so walls stay up even in safe partnerships. Control becomes a default coping mechanism. Overplanning, overthinking, and perfectionism stem from associating unpredictability with danger. Small decisions trigger scenario running because letting go once had consequences. This manifests as anxiety or type A behavior, but roots in survival. Chronic exhaustion is common, the bone-deep fatigue no amount of sleep fixes. The nervous system, stuck in overdrive since childhood, never learned true rest. Adrenaline and cortisol remain elevated, leading to burnout that feels like personal failure. Achievement rarely satisfies. Success is pursued relentlessly because worth was tied to usefulness. More accomplishments bring temporary validation, but the inner voice demands better, faster, proving value endlessly. Society praises this productivity, rarely acknowledging the cost: lost joy, strained relationships, emotional isolation. Emotional labor becomes second nature. They manage group tensions, anticipate conflicts, and keep everyone comfortable, often feeling invisible inside. Admitting struggle feels like defeat at the one skill they mastered. Ultimately, these adults carry an invisible load, the child within still holding everything together. Loneliness persists even in crowds, not from lack of people, but from no one seeing the constant effort to maintain smoothness. Healing begins when these patterns are named as adaptations, not character flaws, allowing space to unlearn and reclaim balance. Healing from parentification isn't about erasing the past, but grieving what was lost and gently rewriting the internal script. The process requires patience, as the child who adapted so well deserves compassion, not judgment.
First, acknowledge and grieve the missed childhood. This means mourning the carefree, dependent, playful version who deserved protection and space to be messy. It's not ungrateful or dramatic, it's honest recognition that basic developmental needs went unmet. Journaling, therapy, or quiet reflection helps name the losses: freedom from responsibility, unconditional care, room for mistakes. Next, separate worth from usefulness. Being needed is not the same as being valued. Practice affirming that existence alone is enough, no production, no emotional labor required. Challenge the belief that rest equals laziness or that help-seeking signals failure. Small experiments matter. Say no to extra tasks, take unearned breaks, accept compliments without deflecting. Learn to receive. Parentified individuals are experts at giving, but beginners at accepting support. Start small. Let someone carry a bag. Listen without fixing. Allow comfort without reciprocating immediately. Vulnerability feels exposing, so build it gradually in safe relationships. Therapy, particularly trauma-informed or somatic approaches, helps rewire the nervous system to register safety in dependence. Release excessive control. Notice when over-planning arises from old fears. Practice tolerating uncertainty. Make decisions without running every scenario. Allow imperfection. Mindfulness or grounding exercises calm the hypervigilant state, teaching the body that pausing doesn't cause collapse. Honor the inner child who survived. That resourceful, brave part did an extraordinary job with limited resources. Thank them, then invite them to rest, no longer forced to run the show. Visualize handing over responsibilities or creating space for play. Build new experiences of safety. Surround yourself with people who model healthy interdependence. Engage in joyful, purposeless activities, dancing, doodling, napping, without agenda. Over time, these rewrite the rulebook. Needs matter. Rest is repair. Connection doesn't require sacrifice. Healing is non-linear. Setbacks happen, but each step loosens the grip. The goal isn't perfection, but permission to feel young at heart, to be held, to exhale fully. What once ensured survival now limits thriving. By grieving, receiving, and releasing, it's possible to finally let go and experience the lightness that was always deserved.